Welcome everyone here from the airfield in Uetersen in northern Germany. Today I want to present you the airplane which we are usually flying in our videos, the Grumman Cheetah. So yeah, let's not wait and get to it. Yeah, in the past I received some questions from you about this airplane, how much it costs, if it's our airplane and so on. So I decided let's make a video about it to let you know everything about the aircraft we fly. Let's start already with the first question, and this is this our airplane or not? It's not our airplane, it belongs to a friend of mine and he lets us fly on it. I already made a video with him when we flew to the Grumman fly-in. I will link it here on top, so you can watch it. It's in German, but you can turn on subtitles to watch it in English. Yeah, so some basic information. This is a Grumman Cheetah or Grumman AA-5A. Similar to the Grumman Tiger, just with 30 or 20 horsepower less. There are two versions of it. This one is powered by the Lycoming 0320 with 150 horsepower. What is really handy in this aircraft is you can just open the cowling like this. It's really easy to have a full view onto the engine itself and all the hoses and connections to check if everything is alright. Yeah, we have a fixed blade propeller with two blades, so you cannot change the angle of the blades. What makes flying quite easy with this plane, because you have one lever less. But also, of course, you cannot use maximum power on takeoff and also in higher altitudes. So let's go on to the wing. Yeah, we have two wing tanks, left and right of course. This plane uses avgas, but it can also be fueled with MOGAS. We have two versions of tanks. We have the normal tank up to 144 liters, where you can use 140 liters. And this one has the long range tanks, which has a capacity of 199 liters, usable 193. For this plane we don't have a fuel measure. Instead there is a little metal inside which shows us the level of 143 liters. So when the fuel reaches this metal, then we know, if it does on both sides, then we know we have 144 liters in the tanks, and with this we can calculate. So usually always after flying or before we want to fly a longer trip, then I fill up to 144 if the weight is okay with that, and then I know what time I can fly. Or of course, if we use the long range tanks, we make it full until the top. But there's also such an unwritten rule. You can usually say when you still see some fuel inside, you have at least 1 hour of fuel remaining. So it's like 1 hour with also additionally 30 minutes of reserve fuel. Yeah, let's get to the weight of the airplane. We have an empty weight of 649 kilograms, which is quite light, and a maximum takeoff weight of 998 kilograms. So that's quite good if we have airports where you need to pay more from 1000 kilograms or more. So in this cases we can save some money. Usually it's like 1 or 2 euros, but whatever. But yeah, what I want to tell you, that means that we have 349 kilograms of payload. So this includes of course fuel, people on board and also oil. Yeah, so for example, if you count with 3 people, each 80 kilograms, then you have like 10 kilograms of luggage. You put 145 liters or 105 kilograms of fuel inside. You have 7 kilograms of oil, so you're already overweight. Making this plane usually a 3-seater, not a 4-seater. So there are very rare cases where you can fly actually with 4 people. You see also in the takeoff performance, the engine with 150 horsepower is quite weak. And when you're fully loaded, then it takes a while until you get airborne. So this is a small problem of this plane, but basically I can say it's usually flying very nice. Yeah, I like this canopy very much because you can slide it open very easily. And the cool thing is you can even open it in flight, like till here around 10 to 20 centimeters, something between. What is nice on hot days, so you get a little bit air inside. You can open it up to 130 miles per hour. Actually, in the manual it's written 130. Here it's written 113. So who knows what is the right value. Yeah, another nice feature in this airplane is that you can remove the rear seats and also everything what is behind. So you have a very huge room for luggage and everything. So if you want to make a tour like 1 or 2 weeks and you have luggages, rucksacks and so on, you have plenty of space inside. And with 2 people you can take really much luggage. So there were cases where we took like 60 kilograms of luggage without any problem. So this is really great for traveling. And yeah, I really like this thing about this plane. Okay, let's turn this engine on. Because it's warm, we don't need to prime. Usually we need to prime like 3 times when it's cold, like today, like 0 degrees. It's warm, so we pull mixture, a little throttle, and all clear around us. And there we go. Alright, radio on, transponder standby, instrument screen. Okay, yeah, usually when it's cold outside, like 3 times. Manual says 4 to 6 times priming, but I made the experience that then it was too much and the fuel was already leaking from the carburetor, and it was so wet that the engine wouldn't start for the next half an hour. What also creates a real danger for carburetor fire. So yeah, better don't prime so often like it's standing in the manual. So today it was 0 degrees, in the night it was -3. I primed 3 times, it turned on after half a rotation. So today, one of the few nice days here in January. Yesterday fog, tomorrow fog. Today sun, but we have an inversion around 300 feet high. Until there it's hazy and above it's great. So yeah, one experience I've made with this plane also is that when the engine is cold, the oil needs very much time to warm up. I mean, the needle of the oil temperature is already moving quite early. So we are already in the green area. But the oil pressure is still very high, and if you would apply higher throttle, then it would already immediately go above the red line. So you really need to wait until the temperature raised so much that the oil pressure stays in the green area when you apply full power. And yeah, this really takes a lot of time, usually like 10, sometimes even 15 minutes. Another experience in cold, humid air is that when the engine is cold and you just started it and you're standing on the ground, run it with 1,200 RPM like recommended, then you will immediately see the rotations dropping due to carburetor icing. So this engine starts to ice, or the carburetor starts to ice very fast in cold and humid air. So be prepared, pull the carburetor heat, then you will see, and the rotations will rise again. Also make sure before takeoff that better check one more time if there is any carburetor icing. Just pull it short before takeoff, make a idle check if it runs smoothly. If it doesn't run smoothly on idle, you probably have still some ice in the carburetor. We had it on Bonhangela, for example. It was running not so too smooth, and on takeoff we started to have fluctuating rotations, RPMs. So yeah, better always check for carburetor icing.
It sometimes takes really fast.
Yeah, it's going really fast. So what we do now is the typical checklist before takeoff. Trim on takeoff, flaps. We need to check they are driven electrically. You need to hold the switch for the flaps until they are out on this position where you want to have it. So if you release the switch, then they will stop at exactly this position where you leave it. So now we check left, right, and when you want to retract them, then you just push the switch up and it will stay there. They will just go in, and yeah, then you can put it into the neutral position again, the switch. In this plane you take off with flaps 0. Yeah, we have an autopilot, but it can only control turns to the right and left, and also follow the VOR. You need to switch, of course, manually between the tanks, left, right, and keep it in level. But that's also quite easy. If you did it a few times, then you always remember. I think that's basically
basically it. Okay, so let's go. So full power applied, rotations, okay. Instruments in green. Airspeed alive, and let's pull it up already a little, that we reduce the resistance, the drag. There are 60. And let's float it in the off the runway, and there's 80. 90 VY. This is what I love in Hamburg, these colors, yeah, with the red buildings and the shadows and the evening light. This makes it look very good. So maybe I will request a little approach.
Yep.
And if we get it, then after we can come back here and then follow the elbow back. So yeah, what I didn't talk about when I told you everything about the fuel tanks is the range of this airplane. When you have the long range tanks, it has a range of around 1,200 to 1,500 kilometers, depending on the power setting. Of course, included is already reserve fuel, so then you're fully empty. Yeah, in my power setting, what I fly usually around 70% or 65%. Depends also on the altitude what I'm flying in. I fly around 105 knots indicated. Yeah, so about the approach. The speed, there are not many speeds shown in the manual. Basically there's only shown, yeah, you should approach with 75 to 18 miles per hour, but it's only referred to maximum weight. So everything below is your own discretion, basically. When I'm light and I approach with 75 to 80, then I'm floating half of the runway. So yeah, it's usually with the speeds you need to make a little bit of experience, because the manual doesn't really say so much about different weights and speeds. The flaps you can already deploy at 120 miles per hour, what is also my cruise speed. So you basically can already start to brake very early. I do it now, 1/3 of flaps, turning to base. Der Oscar Tango dreht ein, rechten Queranflug 09. So, and yeah, I will already put full flaps here on right base because the traffic pattern is a little tight. And there's no wind, and we're a bit heavy, so it's harder to take away the energy. So let's take a bit the speed away. Let's go back to 75. Yeah, there we are.
Very beautiful.
Back on the ground. Yeah, and I received also another question about running costs of the plane. So how much does maintenance and everything cost per year? I have to say, because it's not my plane, I don't really know. But I've heard of something around 6,000 euros per year. Of course, it's fluctuating a bit because it's also an old plane, and sometimes you need to repair something more expensive.
Engine.
No, the engine's fine.